Across the nation, companies are changing their hiring model. What worked 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and even 1 year ago are being thrown out. Today, I'm speaking with an expert who works every day in the staffing recruiting model, and her industry is greatly affected by this new change. We're going to discover how she is able to drive her business with these changes and how she is able to represent the job seeker the best way possible. I welcome Linda Ramirez. Linda has been in staffing and recruiting. I'm always nice and by saying it's over a decade. I don't know the exact time on it. So Linda, please take the floor. Can you give us a little backstory?
I started in the staffing industry back in 2010. So I have 14 years of staffing experience.
Okay. And what brought you into that? How did your life evolve to get to where you are today?
Oh, it was actually kind of funny. I stumbled upon the staffing industry. I did not know anything of, I didn't know it existed. It was actually a friend of mine was working at the Peppermill Casino in Reno, Nevada. And at the time I was looking for a job and somebody was like, "Hey, are you looking to switch jobs? I'm hiring," and called this man, and he gave me a job as an account manager for LaborMax Staffing.
LaborMax. That name sounds familiar to me because I believe you're still involved with LaborMax 14 years later.
14 years later, I did not know that was the beginning of something. I completed 7 years of progressing through account manager, senior account manager, branch manager, and ultimately franchise as an owner operator, prompting me to move to Pennsylvania.
Wow. So you from the very beginning being offered a job into the company have taken it into an owner operator position. So you know all of these roles, and this is probably why you're so good at what you're doing. Can you give us some insight of what LaborMax staffing is, or what industry do you consider yourself in?
We don't have limits as far as what we can service. We do anything from clerical, janitorial to warehouse. I believe that is my strongest suit because that's where most of the years I've stumbled upon, but we do construction as well, to name a few of the industries that I've worked with.
Would this be considered a staffing company, a staffing agency, a recruiting service? How do you identify it?
Employment services. And we did evolve from the day labor. It's a neat story, actually. I think before, when I started, we were sort of like a day labor type where we used to open our branch at 5:30 in the morning. People would come into our office, hang around. We would provide donuts and coffee, and employers used to call and say, "Hey, I'm missing 10 employees." And we would say, you 10, and let's go to the to the job site. And I know very fast we knew that we wanted to evolve into a more permanent placing. So gradually we started educating our clients into let's weekly schedules and let's get them to be more permanent placements. And so we went from the day labor to now having weekly schedules. And then we upgraded our office from a downtown location where it was very questionable to a more professional setting.
So that is a wonderful progression, and I heard from when you said employment services, correct? And you took away the word staffing, and I also heard one of the key phrases of day labor. And so day labor and staffing have a stigma attached to those with a negative connotation. Is that, do you
Absolutely.
find that to be true?
I have such a problem with that because I feel that staffing agencies have sort of been the scapegoat, if you
Mm,
will, of getting blamed for when things go south
mm,
in whatever industry, construction companies, and getting delayed for the deadlines, or production, manufacturing, and hey, we can't meet our deadlines, or we can't push our product out because we don't have the labor. Uh, Yet a different part of that is tied to the company and how they treat the employee.
what I hear you saying, a company uses a staffing service or employment service to expand their current workforce as needed. There's another end of it is utilizing it as try before you buy. They utilize your services not just do an interview, but to get to know the person before they make that decision. And employers who utilize your services as temporary, they treat the employee as a tool to get a job done rather than a person, unless their idea was to convert them.
Yeah.
Last week, you and I had a conversation that you go off and you speak to a dozen companies or more every week, and you heard the same message from 3 different people last week or 2 weeks ago. What was that message and how did that impact you?
I was doing my marketing blitz and I heard that they were moving away from using our staffing services. And I asked curiously why they were moving away from using a staffing services. And it was 3 reasons. The first one was budgets. The
Mhm.
second one was company culture or company pride. And the third one was quality. I said, well, it makes me sad that I won't get an opportunity to set a meeting with a decision maker, or else I would be able to explain the value that we do possess. And we're in our business, that's all we do.
Mm,
Recruitment, 100%. We are the experts. And so we exist so that your company can run your operations, whether it be construction or warehouse. Your HR department needs to be able to focus on dealing with the internal fires that come with
mm.
whatever problems you may have, or leave of absences, whatever you can think of. And so that's why we're there. We have people coming into our office on a daily basis. There's no magic pool that you recruit that we don't recruit from.
Mhm.
We're all pulling from the same pool, so there's no better quality. Not only that, we do get to build relationships with these people because they are calling us consistently. Hey, what do you have available? Is there anything that's opening up? We know when an employer in the area closes down and where there are massive layoffs, and so they come to me, and I have a first dib on that. Hey, there's 10 people that have 7 years plus tenure. Are you looking for them? These are the people that you have available. And so there's also a misconception where somebody calls me and they're like, hey, do you have a list of people that you have available at a moment's notice? And yes, that could be true, but they're also not waiting around
Correct.
for you to call at a moment's notice. These are people that we're proactively searching in hopes that we can get them placed somewhere.
That's a great point. Is you have a Rolodex. Wow, that's an old word here. But you have a list of people that you've hired in your past. I remember working for a company that we went through our records. We had 38,000 people that have interviewed with our company. That we processed and hired 14,000 of those people over the years and did a constant engagement. You still have resource to you because you are servicing multiple companies in the same genre. So you know who was successful somewhere else. How many people do you have in your history with the company, just where you are now, that you could possibly go to if somebody had a need for employees?
I've been in my area for 7 years, so
Okay.
I can't tell you a heavy number, but it's 7 years worth of data, and we do in-house job fairs. We go to the colleges. We're always recruiting. We're always having those um, open house where they're coming in every single day. So, do you want the people that have been in our system going back 7 years? Absolutely not. But do we have the flow coming in of fresh applicants? Yes, yes, we do. And like
Okay.
I mentioned earlier, we do have those resources where this just happened at the beginning of the week. Somebody came from a company and they said they just closed down our warehouse, and I've
Mm,
been with them for 7 years plus.
mm.
And so we have the resources, because if we could place them somewhere, uh, now we have word of mouth. Hey, John Doe just got a job here. Bring your friends. We have more jobs to within whatever company. So it's a huge advantage to the employee.
You have an entire list of people, from people that are losing their job today or tomorrow for without cause or for no reason of their own doing. You have historical data with people. So if I lined you both up at the start line and said, okay, Linda,
Yeah,
Linda and Mary, representing the company, who can get to interview 100 people first, you would probably
yeah.
blow their doors off, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And let me tell you, because it's been so ingrained that the people should go and do go to the staffing agencies first. They know they can walk out. It's more realistic that they can walk out with a job in a staffing firm than them sending the resumes directly to a company.
Mm,
And
that's
so
a
they
great
have it
point.
ingrained in
Correct.
their minds that if they do want a job and they're serious about it, they have a greater chance to walk into a staffing agency and get placement than to apply through Indeed to all these jobs where they have masses of competition and they're not going to be showcased.
Mm,
They have the skills to work, but they don't have the skills to build a resume. That's where we have the relationship with our partners, with our clients. And we say, hey, look at this resume. I spoke to them, I interviewed them, and you might want to interview this person that you otherwise would not
mm.
go through or filter through. And so they give them that opportunity. And now they're like, wow, I would have passed them.
What makes you speed up that time to hire? How are you able to place somebody in a building tomorrow or next week over a general business?
Well, first of all, we have more flexibility when the company comes to us. We have greater flexibility in that timeline. They don't have to wait
Mm,
to get to those checkpoints, right? Whatever the HR process is, we already have people that do have the backgrounds, and then we have the drug test, and that's instantaneous. But I know that some companies have to go through more rigorous onboarding process, and we don't have that. And not only that, we have that partnership with the client that allows them to seek our guidance. So I know the FTM is a field team member, is as what we call it, seeker. And then we say, hey, we interviewed this person. I think they're great. Please give them an interview. And because we have that relationship, as a courtesy to me, they'll say, okay, I trust you. Let's go ahead and set up a meeting, and they'll agree or disagree. But if they agree, they go ahead and move forward with that. And when they hired through their process, they're still looking at their resumes. They're trying
mm,
to decide who's a good fit. They don't have any insight. They just have a resume. And they
correct.
have to make the best decision on a piece of paper. And here
Yes,
I am saying, I've already talked to the candidate. You don't have to try to decipher which resume looks better. I'm telling
correct.
you.
You're hiring for the person. And if company A says, I have a role, Linda, just bring me these people and fit it, that's a naive process. What they should be doing is sitting down with you saying, here is our ideal candidate. This is what somebody successful looks for in our company. And because of that, you're not asking just general interview questions. You can ask finely detailed questions provided by the employer themselves. So you are the recruiting arm. You can ask the exact same questions and document the exact same answers and make decisions that that company wants to know, correct? And do companies
Correct.
recognize that and use you for that?
I would say the smart ones do. Listen, I just had a meeting at 10 o'clock and I'm very cheesy. I always say, listen, this is a relationship. And in order to work, we have to both get to know each other. The initial phase is going to be bumpy, but the
Mhm.
more we get to know each other, we're going to like each other and we're going to know what works, what doesn't work. And we both have to put effort.
Mm.
And that's the recipe for success. But if the communication is not going both ways, then we're not going to work out. And so it does take effort. It's not just, hey, there's a staffing agency, here you go, let's work magic. It goes both ways.
So once again, that's treating people as people and not a tool, not a widget to put in an opening. A cheat code for a company. How would I utilize you to make me look good?
Well, absolutely take the time to sit down and have a very detailed conversation for what your expectations are from that agency. Let them in the building get to know your operations, your people, your supervisors, their style of management, your perks, so that we can sell that to the people um, that we're going to source for you, and trust us to make an informed decision for you. Definitely not rush us. If you want quality people, then we can't get your resumes within 2-3 hours of when you have an open requisition. Or if you are going to require that, then be open to, I always say our most underutilized tool resource is the working interview or the try before you buy. Because
Correct.
I do it myself internally. I won't hire anyone until I I have that 30-day trial. Why? Because I have interviewed so many people and so many people talk such a great game. They convince you, you fall in love, and then you start them and you're like, what happened?
Correct.
And so it just goes to show that a great talker does not necessarily possess the skills that you're looking for. They can dazzle you and you eat it right up because that's what you're looking for. You're hopeful, you're just filled with optimism, and they disappoint. And sometimes I've had a lot of instances where the employee is just nervous, they tank the interview, but you take that risk and you let them in, they turn out to be such great assets. And you just sort of think, wow, we should be open to.
Is there a general timeline that somebody can prove themselves before you should judge that person on the quality?
No, you know,
How,
it can
how long
range
how long does it
from,
take to know if somebody's successful or not?
oh, I have instances where I've hired and that same day I'm like, oh no. I mean, it can be a little as 2 hours to weeks.
And what do you do when you recognize that this person is not a good fit?
It's hard. You know, I'm an optimist. I always give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm a talker. I always pull the relationship thing. I really do.
Okay.
That's that's my hook. I'll give you an example. I still have her actually. I hired someone and she interviewed great. And then we started having problems from day one. And it was 2 weeks. And I said, hey, I'm flexible, but I don't think I'm that flexible. And we had that conversation. And she said, hey, give me an opportunity. I'll make it up to you. And I did. And she did pull it together.
So how would that work on a client? If you hired a person and put them in the building, and a week later, it turns out they were not the right fit for that position, what are you, as an employment service, able to do that company is not?
Well, I think so they can do it, they can call me and say, hey, let's terminate them. I think is everybody's different is what I'm trying to say. And I think I'm just more kind and open to opportunities as to other people. I've seen it, they don't have time or the empathy to feel or to empathize for what other people are going through. Um, and so it's just everybody's different. I don't know what type of supervisors, there are out there, but kindness can go a long way, especially
But
if you
as an employment service for a company, if they're hiring you to bring people in, you have advantages over them, as if somebody is not working out, that you have the ability to pull other triggers that they don't internally, correct?
Well, when through us, we have the flexibility to term them. I think more of if they are hiring through the company, they have to go through that process of giving the verbal warning and documenting that. So it's going to take them longer to terminate an employee through us. You can go ahead and call me and we can terminate that person's assignment. So we come with that flexibility. And the reason that's different for us is because we don't terminate them from LaborMax. They're still our employee, and our job is to find them a different assignment. So
that's a great analogy and a great difference. And I think that the word, when we say terminate, is you're terminating an employee. I think most people listening to this will say, oh, they didn't work out in 3 days, they were fired. If they worked for the company themselves and they were let go, they lost their job. When a company calls Linda and says, hey, Robert is not working out, you can say, okay, I'm going to remove him from that assignment. But because I'm working with multiple other agencies, I'm working with multiple other companies, there may be a better fit for him. That person is likely not to completely lose a job. They just don't have a place to go to work tomorrow.
Correct. So we end their assignment, but they're not terminated from LaborMax staffing.
That's great. And I think that's a good one so let's speak to the people themselves. What is it like if I've never been employed by an employment service? What happens to me? What's that process that they go through?
I only post the company position if the company gives us permission, but mostly I post LaborMax staffing. They have to come to us. We give them an application. We talk about the job. We talk about their qualifications, and they have to meet the criteria. They don't come in and then say, "Hey, what do you have available?" No, let's sit down and what are your skills and how can we match you and do we have something for you? Obviously, if they're answering a specific ad, it's because they have that skill that they're looking for. And then after that, if they do have the skills required for that job, we take them through the process of interviewing them. If we think that they're going to be a good fit for our client, then we go ahead and set up an interview with the client to put them in front of them.
And do most clients want to interview the people before you put them in, or does every client have a different?
Split. It just depends on the the control aspect of our clients. Some people trust us. They say, "Hey, just send them. I trust that you are going to do your job. You're the expert. I have other things to take care of." And there are others that just they want to do the interview.
So
So it's a 50-50 split.
if I am an employee, if I am a job seeker and I need to start work right away, I'm not getting responses back on Indeed or anything else, and I need to start. I need to pay my bills. I could walk into a service such as yourself and probably find a position if I have a skill pretty quickly.
If you have the skills, yes.
Where do you see the recruiting services heading?
I am not sure. I think due to the responses that I'm getting, I feel like we're going to revert back to the, I don't want to say it, the day labor days. It,
Okay, how
and
so?
because everybody's talking about budgets, which means they're watching their money. And with that is they're only going to want employees to supplement when their production levels spike. And that is, yeah, I can only, I'm afraid. I don't want to see it become back to the day labor.
So
It's not a good thing.
you have an entire recruiting company. You are spending thousands of dollars in advertising, on payroll, interviewing, technical, all
Drug
aspects.
test,
You have a lot of expenses behind yourself
backgrounds.
in order for somebody to be able to say, I need 15 people to start next week. That takes a lot of money from you. And for that reason, you need to charge for it. So how does that equate to what they're currently paying for their employee? And what's the benefit of paying that extra money to you for doing that recruiting service?
Well, the benefit is that we do pay the employee unemployment benefits, the workman's compensation. So if they're injured anytime during the employment with my staffing firm, is we cover those expenses. We also cover all the employee taxes. So FICA, SUDA, anything that locals that we have local city tax in the state of Pennsylvania, all of that. So it's not just, let's say we pay the employee $15 an hour. We don't just pay 15. It's going to cost us more like $18 an hour after all the taxes and the insurances are paid. And then we have, of course, our overhead costs. So we do need to charge a markup in order to, yes, make also profits. And but it is beneficial because of all the other things that we talked. We recruit 24/7. We're in front of the people.
So you're already doing the recruiting service. You take away their cost from paying FUTA, SUTA, all the taxes, the unemployment, the injury, somebody gets hurt. I've always recognized if somebody were to get hurt on a job or to be let go, it usually happens in the first 30 to 90 days of employment. And so you're taking on the risk of them losing the job and you paying unemployment on them. So it's a cost benefit to utilize you. Time to hire is faster. The quality, you have much more people to choose from. And the awesome part is, if they like the person, there's a path forward for them to hire that person from you. If I'm an employer and I say, I really like Charles, what do I need to do before that person can work for me directly?
Well, you let them either complete their hours that we have agreed upon in our contract, and or you can buy them out. So that will give us a placement fee. And that varies, of course.
Okay. And so that falls right into what most companies are used to if they were utilizing a recruiting service. If I were hiring an IT worker and I charge 15% of their salary or 10% of their salary, if I'm hiring somebody at $180,000, for them, that company's paying me $18,000 or $25,000 for me to place them. And there's a guarantee. So you're saying the exact same thing could work on somebody making $20 an hour or $15 an hour is, yeah, I can do a percentage on top of that and get that person right now.
Correct.
All right. So the budget, you mentioned that one reason that you believe it may fall back into the model of day labor. And your fear there was, number one was budget. They believe the cost is cheaper for them to hire directly. What were the other two reasons?
It was so budget, company culture, and quality.
Let's address the company culture. What do they mean by they want to improve their company culture?
Well, the explanation that I got was they want the employees, to wear those T-shirts with the logos and have the employees feel like they are a part of the company. I've always had a problem with that, where there's exclusion, or on the employee barbecue days where, oh, we can't offer the food. It shouldn't be. I disagree with that portion of it. And you should just buy the extra 50 hot dogs, especially if majority of the time they do end up hiring the people. I rarely is it where I get a situation where the employees don't get hired on through the company.
So you have companies that exclude the people that are on an agreement or contract with you from.
I used to.
Oh,
I used
okay.
to, not anymore.
Not anymore. So you have that
Not
conversation. And that,
anymore.
excellent,
Oh, yeah.
excellent.
I'm very honest.
That leaves a very bad taste in that person, that employee's mouth. Why do I want to convert, or why would I want to be with a company who actually doesn't want to hand me a T-shirt or a hamburger during these days? I think that little snub of not getting a hamburger and chips might cost them a great employee.
And let me just say, they don't have to be your employee just in order for them to participate in that company.
So if they would like to make everybody feel welcome, that's in their hands.
Wow. Hey, just give them a T-shirt. If they want to be part of that, wearing that company pride that you're so seeking from the employees, why not?
All right. And then the last one, the quality. You addressed on the quality, that they're recognizing, or they're saying that the quality is suffering, and that's one of their reasons.
Yeah. And too bad. I say we're all pulling from the same pool. There's no magical pool. And it also ties with the type of relationship that you have with your firm. You have to have a good relationship. You have to have good communication. We have to be able to go into your operations and know how you work, know what you want, in order to be able to provide you with good people.
And that's a great point. If a company who hires you, who brings you under a contract, sees you as a competitor, you're doomed to fail. If I'm a job seeker, I can utilize employment services to get to work quickly and to have a variety of companies to work for. And if I'm an employer and I need skilled people, or I need an abundance of resumes coming in, I can utilize you to be that front door. Is there a technology that you're utilizing now? I noticed with all the ATSs, or the applicant tracking systems, and the AI generated scrubbing resumes and so on, is there a technology that you recommend for job seekers or for employers to utilize that you're currently utilizing that you see as a benefit?
No. I love technology. I love AI, but I am a believer in picking up the phone and bringing the FTM in person and talking and having a good conversation. I don't think any amount of technology is going to be able to place human interaction. And so, yes, we do have the ability to have them apply from their home, from their mobile device. But when we interview, we have to have a conversation in person. And I think that's where maybe there's some difference in service. If you're getting a staffing agency that's just not that's hiring through a mobile application. Hey, here are some jobs, you have the flexibility, take whatever you have, and great, you're going to find coverage, but you don't know what you're getting. It's wonderful again, but I myself don't want to interact with a phone machine when I call any customer service. I'm like, 0, 0, 0, 0. Like, get me a person. I don't want to deal with a machine. And so I myself do not have a VoIP. So when customers call me, the first thing they say, I can't believe I'm talking to someone. I did not have to press 1 or 2, and that's what I get a lot. I love that I'm talking to a person, and you have no idea how many agencies I've called X, Y, and Z, and they all have press here, press that, and so I just hang up. And so
Wow.
that's to my advantage. We still answer. Thank you for calling Labor Max Staffing. This is so and so. How can I help you?
Linda's
Nothing.
advice,
No
Linda's
technology.
advice to the best technology out there is the person behind it. Absolutely. So thank you
Absolutely.
very much. Thank you for being a guest on Word of Mouth. Linda, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what is the best way to do it? Is it through LinkedIn? We will provide a link here. You are in Pennsylvania. If a customer, an employer, a business would like to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, you can either click the link that you're going to provide on my LinkedIn, or you can call us at area code 610-965-1750. And that
All right.
is the all. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.